It's Saturday morning right now. Pretty much the plan for the day is to check out this gazebo. I got a friend from work and he's got a backyard that has literally no shade. So we looked into some gazebos and we found the Costco 12 by 14. We're gonna go check it out today. It just got delivered and we're gonna check out the assembly of this. I understand there's quite a few people out there that assemble this. So this is my first time assembling this package specifically. So stuff can be improved in the future. This is definitely going to be a learning process. We got the instructions. Whether or not I go get the trailer today with all the tools. I've got some stuff in the trailer right now that I'm kind of storing, but the stuff is pretty heavy. It's a bunch of plywood and ideally I wouldn't want it in there at the moment, but it is what it is. So we're gonna go over there real quick, check it out. I'm gonna put you guys on the time lapse whenever I get there. You can see what we're gonna be doing for a setup, but that's pretty much the gist of the whole day, and we'll loop you in. See you there. You know, I found just about every morning starts the same. I mean, you unplug stuff after it's been charging all night. Pick up stuff that's, oh, yikes, I don't do that. The moment I think that I'm not gonna do that, I do it. My 3D printer, I don't know why this USB dongle just sticks out the way it does. Every morning I feel like it just starts similar, if not the same, in every aspect. And you wrap up your bag, get your phone. In my case, get your phones, plural, just for filming and stuff, and definitely works out. Make sure everything is charged. Ran this guy out yesterday at the fashion show there. Well, it wasn't a fashion show, it was an art event, and fashion was a part of it. So, ho-hem, gimbal, but get dressed, put your belt on, all that nonsense. Come out to a day that looks like this. Pretty nice, pretty nice. All right, here at Panera, I usually stop by. The nice thing about Panera is they offer the subscription to unlimited coffee and drinks, and it's kind of cool. Let me show you guys. Just a little side note. We're gonna get this guy set up here in a minute, but Lorenzo's gonna come over here and he's gonna bust off a nut over here. What year is this pickup?
This is a 1954 Chevy.
Yeah, 54 right here. Shows he loves used cars. So do I. Maybe more so than me, obviously.
That stuff is good.
So the test is, I just bought this Milwaukee 1/2-inch impact wrench over here. I put a 6.0 on there, and we're gonna give this a test real quick and bust off a really heavy one.
Oh, that one's gonna be tricky to get to.
It's just it's too shallow.
Yeah, not enough.
Not enough throw. Man, we got another one?
I don't got anything else that's that big.
Oh, okay. Dang it.
Yeah, not at the moment.
Well, maybe in a bit. We'll find one.
We'll find one.
We'll find one.
Like
But apparently this thing puts out 1,500 foot-pounds right off the throw on this guy. It's definitely busted off some cross-threaded nuts, but we're gonna put it to the test with some corrosion. In a bit, we're gonna go get set up with the back. Right. So this is where it's going, right here. I'm gonna set the tripod up here in a minute, but this is the pad over the pergola, or sorry, excuse me, over the grill, and we're gonna be putting it on. This side is gonna be questionable just because it doesn't really go out past this guy over here. But I think what we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna go on the outside of this guy and lay its own footing. That's kind of what I suspected. But go out that way and then pull it towards us. It'll be 14 feet this direction, from right there to there, and then 12 foot on this dimension over here. We're gonna get that scoped out, but what it looks like in 3 packages here, Lorenzo already lumped this all the way back here, but he said it's about 200 pounds a piece. So if you're not as strong as him, you should probably get another person involved. Okay, we're gonna get around to cutting this open. We'll set up the time lapse, and we'll see you in a bit. It's not like, it's unfortunate, like, it's only when they have it in stock and they're just like, oh, well, we'll let you know, I guess. I'm like, man, serious? Yeah, I think they gotta cut the tape, yeah?
Yeah. They did it from the bottom, though, right?
Something. I don't know, well, I smell pine, like, no, not the wood. I'm talking like just this, like a peppermint smell or of sorts, you know? Our instructions here. So Grand Pavilion. So that's in Spanish, which Grand Gazebo. So like this guy looks Operación. This is also in Spanish. This is French. Spanish and French. So I'm dumb, dude. Okay, so it looks like the inside of here, from outside of post to post, is 12 foot 10, right? And then the other direction is 10 foot 10. So our outside post to outside post needs to be a minimum of these dimensions. So based on that, what we need to do is make sure that we space the hole that we just dug, which is this one, and the I'll go ahead and put a pencil it in later, but this post is the one that we just dug for a footing, and then we want to come over here and go ahead and space that out. So outside to outside is going to be 10 foot 10 and 3/8. We're going to go ahead and do that. All right, here comes the fun part. So what we're dealing with now is we're done with the footers, and we can put these other 2 manuals away. Right inside of here, we did actually measure this out. This looks good. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the next step. However, we're figuring out what we wanna do for the footers, and I think what we're gonna actually do is pour these wet and then go get the bolts and then put the bracket in at the same time. So the bolts will actually be in there, not based on drilling the hole and then setting the anchor later. We can actually set these in here without needing to drill the holes, and then we'll let the concrete set in around it. We'll get around to that in just a second, but anchoring hardware not included. So we got to go get some concrete anchors. Maybe we can get some wet set concrete anchors that actually do pretty well. Post mounts that have a 1/2 inch diameter hole for anchoring hardware. That makes sense. So we can go get some 1/2 inch wet set anchors. If they can't be wet set, we'll just have to pop the holes in a little bit later when it's cured a little bit more. So let's see what else we got in here. The fun part comes around is where we're gonna find all this hardware. And since each of these boxes weigh 200 pounds, this is gonna be a little bit of a struggle here. I'm gonna help Lorenzo out. right, we're taking a quick intermission in the backyard, but we're gonna go to the hardware store. Actually, we're gonna go to Lowe's, go get some concrete, fill those holes up, and grab some anchors. And this thing's sweet. We're gonna go ahead and take this guy to the store here. It's gonna be awesome. I love this thing. Lorenzo fixed this up a while back, but it's usually his go and getter truck. Yeah. It's pretty sweet. Let's go for a ride. He just bought a 31 Ford Model 8. Pretty awesome. All right. We're gonna go ahead and pull the truck up and not break our backs trying to freaking push this over the truck. Probably would actually better luck just to go ahead and buy it and then shovel it off from here. So if you ever do anything more than you know, like this right here is only 500 pounds, but if you don't want to break your back, you can always buy it and then pull your truck up right next to there and load it up. It's much easier. You don't have to break your back and then you need a whole pallet. Just have the fork come over and pick it up. Pick it up once. Only once. Don't have to break your back if you have a Harbor Freight account. Back from Lowe's. Let me show you guys what we're up against. I had a bit of an issue with posts not lining up, and the brackets were going to go onto an existing slab, and I was a little bit nervous about putting the bolts that close to the edge. So let me show you what we're doing. Here's our first footing, and here's our second footing over there. The distance between them are actually, we've already kind of narrowed down into what we want to do for the posts, but the way the posts sit in here is they actually go lengthwise like this, and they go with the 14-foot direction. They want the brackets, according to their assembly procedure, they want the brackets to be on the long sides of the posts, going with the direction of the 14-foot. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense according to the way you'd want to make something, I guess, structurally strong in this direction. But we don't have that room because we're going to go up right next to that guy, right next to this guy, and it's going to be too close, and it's going to have zero concrete for those J-bolts to hook on anything. So we're going to go ahead and change the location of the brackets. We're going to put a bracket here and a bracket here on the long sides versus the short sides of the posts. Change that up. We're going to start cutting some of these some form board. This is much nicer than you'd ever need for form board, but it's going to get the job done. It's going to get it done well. So we're going to go ahead and form up real quick, make sure we have nice clean edges to and from on both sides of these footings, and then we'll get to it.
Don't need metal in my house.
That's right. We're back out here. We didn't grab any lumber while we're out there to make some stakes. That would have been kind of nice, but we're just going to go ahead and cut these up, use these. Okay. Maybe just cut two more over here. Let's just go. All right, maybe two more right there.
Change that?
Yeah. All right, we got the forms going here. This slab over here is a lot higher. It's probably a solid 2 inches higher than this guy here. So there's going to be a bit of a slope, but I don't want to do that until the very end. I'll show you why a little bit later. We don't want it to be a tripping hazard either. So we're going to have to kind of play a little bit of art with that piece there. And then the far side is going to get the same deal. I'm not 100% sure if like that side of the slab is
at the same elevation as this one? We're about to find out. It does look pretty level. I don't have a laser on me. That unfortunately is in the trailer as well. And I should have just brought the trailer. Pour these up and then I'll put you guys on the time lapse and we'll go from there. All right, we just laid our footings. That's just some 3,500 pound concrete. I'm gonna go ahead and brush off and clean later, but we gotta lay it. We gotta hit one more finish pass or two on that one. This one's just layment, so we gotta wait for this to stiffen up just a tad before we can add a little bit extra, let it bleed off. And then when that's done, we'll add a finish and add our brackets. Probably actually add those brackets sooner than later, so to make sure those J-bolts are hooking in there. So I guess what we're going to end up using are these J-bolts, wherever they went, over here. So these usually are for homes, and when you lay the concrete in the foundation around the edge of the house here, the footing is below, but then there's a stem wall that comes up, and that stem wall accepts one of these guys, and you lay it while the concrete's wet. Pop that sucker in there, and so now you got a hook and a hook on the concrete, and it never can come out. So this is called an anchor, concrete anchor, but in this case, this type of concrete anchor is a J-bolt. So this J-bolt will slide in there, and then we'll stick our threaded portion through our brackets over there, and then we'll cinch them down with a socket, and that'll be it. All right, so we had to make a slight adjustment on this footing. Unfortunately, we pulled the measurement a little bit too close to this side, and where the edge of this bracket was is where my form board was. So I went ahead and moved that back about 4 inches to give that bolt, that room on the concrete to function correctly. And over here, we already put a brush on there, and that's an extremely rough finish, but it's going to do what it is it needs to hold it down and act as a footing to make sure it doesn't go down in elevation in the future. I think this slab is definitely sloped. We're gonna have to account for that here in a bit, but essentially they're down, all the way down onto the brackets. So we'll figure that out in the future. And how we're gonna go and end up doing this other side is we're gonna go ahead and assemble this. These are not connected to our brackets, but the concrete's setting up right now. So we'll pull these posts straight up here and set them out over here and redo the assembly on this side. So we'll get the whole thing assembled and into sides, and then we'll lift these into place one by one, and that's how we'll figure out where we want to pop our holes in the slab on that side. I'm sure this concrete sets up a little bit nicer, a little bit harder. In the meantime, I'll just clean up, get ready, do a little bit of thinking, and after we're done with this, we'll pull off these form boards real quick and put you on the time lapse, and I'm just going to go ahead and clean up the sides here and make sure we have a nice face on the edge of these guys with where the form board's at. So. All right, we're back at it. So we're gonna put our posts together while waiting for our concrete to go ahead and set up. But according to the instructions here, we're gonna use a bolt, lock washer, flat washer, and a T-nut. However, on our posts on this side, we need to change the location. We're gonna make sure and verify that this is the right posts, and then we're gonna drill into the right sides. So to make sure of that, make sure we have the right hardware here. We got our large washers, these guys here. We got our lock washers right there. We got our bolts right there, and our T-nuts. We're gonna get to it, put you guys back up on the time lapse. made it a little bit further. We made a small mistake on the trim on this side. That was honestly my mistake. I wasn't thinking. I got a little excited, get the post on there, and it took a while. Like, let me go ahead and flip the camera. So this post specifically, this footing right here, had some issues because when we were getting the brackets on here, it's almost impossible to get a perfect bolt layout. And unfortunately for us, we needed to go pull this post off to get these brackets in, but then we didn't install the trim. And you want to install the trim at the same time, like that guy. So let me go ahead and show you this one. So what happened here was put the brackets down, and we'll tighten these down a little bit later. But we got the brackets down, and then we actually did install the trim on this one before we decided to go ahead and move on to the next step. And what we should have done was wait. So we're gonna go ahead and brad nail 3 sides together first and slide it on like a sleeve on the back side of this guy. What is that?
I was gonna say, just go ahead and screw it on the other ones and then
Yeah.
just...
Morning, everybody. All right, so we're gonna get the day started. I got to stop by the trailer and pick up a couple of tools. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be pulling the whole trailer to over to Lorenzo's to help with the gazebo, so I'm going to grab a couple of tools. Hopefully I don't forget anything. All right, let's get started. So the plan today is we're going to see if we can get my door to go unlocked. Isn't that funny? Yeah, sometimes it happens. I'll go back here and adjust that. Oh. Oh my gosh, 1 second. All right, better. Man, it's such a process. Maybe I shouldn't crunch these up. I should put those somewhere. All right, gotta get some sunscreen on. Let's hit it. All right, so, man, I wish this all wasn't in here, but I don't really have a choice at this point. So I'm gonna take out some tools and get her going. We do need to get the gazebo nice and square. So I'm gonna pull the SDS Max over here and punch some holes in some concrete. We'll get these anchors going, and hopefully we get nice and square and start assembling some of the roof panels. Hey, hey, hey. Hey. All right.
next day. We're gonna head back out there. I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the pool fence over at Lisa's place. All the measurements have been done, a little bit alterations to the original plans, but we finished the gazebo. I'm gonna take you guys out there real quick. I gotta go pick up the trailer anyways, and I'll take you through the remainder of the project and show you what we did, some of the things we ran into, some of the things we wouldn't do again, and then also maybe in the future, if we keep on assembling more, we could do it faster next time. Faster, safer, you name it. All right, we're back the next morning here. Just gonna check out what we're looking at last night. Landscapers are here, adding some more rock. I think that we're doing some of the irrigation systems as well. Anyways, look at that. Even the sun is even a little bit better. 12 by 14, made by Yardistry. And they sell it and wholesale it to Costco and Costco retails. So, quick overview. We had to add 2 footings, number 1 and number 2. We had to add those footings because the pad, the existing white pad here, this concrete pad's not wide enough to take all 4 footings. There's just no way we could line it up so that it wouldn't hang off the edge, you know. So we added a couple of footings there, just 3 or 4 bag holes. They're not that very, not huge. And then we stuck some J-bolts in it while it was wet. And yeah, it holds on just fine. I would say that probably the biggest concern trying to handle something at this scale is mostly where you're going to put your feet on here. Typically, I mean, you would erect the poles, and then you'd take the beams and connect those poles, and then you'd add the braces. My mistake, and Lorenzo was able to help me brainstorm, and he was actually right. You actually want to firm these up and shore them up and make sure that your posts are nice and plumb wherever they're at. So in our case, which was a special case, we had 2 fixed posts. They were fixed because those bolts, because they're a wet sole set, we can't just go and move it wherever the heck we want. So we needed to make sure that these 2 posts, that one and that one, were floating. And when they float, they can go anywhere we need them to go. I, on the other hand, I wanted to set it up as like kind of like a free floating structure and not really tie these down either, just kind of loosely put them there and then loosely put these guys somewhere and then kind of plumb it up. And then we went to go put on the roof yesterday and we realized this thing is all over the place. There's just too many variables. It's just moving around everywhere. So we're like, no, screw that. We're not doing that. And Lorenzo's, let's shore these up, put our braces on. Sure enough, after we tightened up our braces with our bolts on here, that's highly recommended. That was coming out of the instructions too, and they were right. Typically they're correct. So I tried going out of my way to make this a little bit more simple, but it turned out I made it more complicated than it needed to be. Grand total, 2 guys, 2 days. If you want to count in a lot of the prep time, Mary was out here taking the plastic off. That was kind of off camera as well. Maybe you might catch it on the time lapse. But the roof is not very heavy, but the construction is not bad. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty strong. Even these purlins up in the ceiling here. So the rafters were okay. I'd say the purlins, the way they hooked into each of these members was actually pretty good. I'm mildly surprised. And then we popped these holes in after the end. We got it nice and plumbed up, and we're good to go. That's pretty good shade. This is 12, like I said, sorry about the wind here.
12 by 14. This is pretty nice, not gonna lie. We get some shots and then we'll go from there. And we'll see you guys on the next project.